Okay.
Good? Good. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Happy summer. I thought it was yesterday, but it's today.
Cool, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't keep
But there was a
track.
lady, she was like, it's actually June 21st. It's not like Christmas. You can't, yeah, it's not the same day. Happy summer. My name is Lucy Vetter-Hendler. I'm the Artistic Director here at the Art Gallery of Southwestern Manitoba. And today we are going to embark on a tour of this new exhibition of paintings by Opeyemi Olukotun. Before we begin, we are on the territory that has since time immemorial been stewarded by the Cree, the Anishinaabe, the Dene, the Dakota, and the Anishinaabe people. It's also the homeland of the Red River Métis. I'm trying to cut out Treaty 2 because that's just, that's a piece of paper. It doesn't talk about the stewardship that's happening. And this exhibition, we're going to hear a lot about displacement and home and searching for home in the people around you. So we keep all of those deep histories in mind and our very new histories as well, our 3-year histories as we go through this. I'd like you to introduce yourself to everybody as well. Tell us about yourself. Oh, housekeeping though is that we are being recorded for cable. That's going to be edited, so you don't have to worry about that. We're also being live streamed for the gallery, which if anything terrible happens, we'll edit, but basically it's going to be as it is. So if we do have questions, we're going to repeat them back into these microphones or hand you the microphone so that everybody can participate. With that said, welcome Opeyemi.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing so many people to our gallery last night. It was a big party.
I was shocked as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Great.
So
tell me about yourself.
So my name is Opeyemi Olukotun. I'm a visual artist, as you all know. Originally from Nigeria. I grew up there. Do you want me to talk like a lot?
Well, I mean, it's all about. There is an interview that everybody can read online or in the booklets that are available. And it was a 3-hour interview. So the long form is online, the short form, deeply edited. It was so hard to edit because you started when you were 6 years old, you moved to Lagos, and that comes back later, right?
Yeah.
This is a show about everything that happened to you.
Yeah.
So, that's okay. So, to not start at 6 years old for the sake of time here, we'll tell everybody that in Nigeria, it's very common for people to move around the country a lot because there's different placements that occur, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of by good fortune of being with the right friend at the right time ended up in visual arts instead of computers when you were finally at university, right? Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
Okay, so I got into university 2006. Formally, I have a science background. Yeah, I love physics. I love anything computer as well. I went to do like a course on that in the university, but there's something about that era that if some people might have been like at home for a while, no admission to school because a lot of people want to get into school, and so sometimes the university chooses a course for you. Yeah. If you want it, good. If you don't, you back out. So I was given chemistry,
which you hate.
Which I hate.
Yeah.
Chemistry
and ceramics.
I did not like it. But I did my first year there, hoping to cross to a different department by 200 level. And I had computer engineering in mind to go. But the first year, there's this general course we usually do, a general course that is called FA 101. So I school in Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, if I didn't say it earlier. So that course, I went to buy the pack.
The course pack?
Yeah, the course pack. And I saw they had artists, students gathered in the studio drawing a model in the middle. Yeah. and I felt,
Classic.
wow, yeah,
Classic art
is,
school scene. Yeah.
I never imagined that like a school of technology is gonna be doing fine art degree, and I was so amazed because I could draw, but I don't have the background.
The rest of it.
Yeah, I don't have the educational qualification for that.
Yeah.
I was a science student, but I knew how to draw a little. And having seen that, it elevated my artistic spirit, and the urge to want to go back there was just coming up every time.
Yeah. You said you went to do the change of course form 3 times.
Yeah.
You just kept taking your correction fluid. No. But then eventually you ended up there.
So I took the change of course form, like 20 level.
Yeah.
I wrote computer engineering. Then after I changed it, I crossed it. I think I put down physics, crossed it again. Like, no, fine art. I have to just go there. My dad didn't know about it, because if not, no parents will know. Most parents then they won't allow you to do that sort of course, because it's a risky career. Yeah. It might not be profiting at the end of the day or lucrative the way they see it. So I just went in there. After like 3 months, I told him. He wasn't really happy, but he took it in. And I think after all, it was more welcoming with the idea.
Because you're taking it so seriously.
Yeah.
After having a hard time in school in general.
Yeah.
This one really.
So he was welcoming to the idea, and he supported me fully.
Oh, awesome.
And I was so grateful for that. I'm still grateful today because of where I am with the profession. I'm extremely grateful.
Well, if you weren't a success, we would see.
Yeah.
And in university, all Nigerians in university have to do like a professional placement for 1 term, right? For 6 months?
I don't know how it is right now, but it's all, if you don't want it, you could back out.
Yeah.
The slot be given to someone else. But it's just as at that time, 2006, I think most people want to go to school, and if you don't have, if you're not given the course or maybe you're cut off, there's an entrance exam you do. If it doesn't meet what you want to study,
right,
you might be given another course to study. So if you don't want it, it's your choice. You could try another
you can either
university
be in school or not.
Or not. You try another university to get admission into, but it's always very hard to get into university.
Yeah, there's some physics.
Physics, yeah. So.
During professional placement, you ended up at Universal Studios, which changed everything for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I was in 400 level, there's this thing we do back in Nigeria. If you are studying for 4 years or 5 years, at the end of 3rd year for your if you're studying for 4 years course, you'll be encouraged to go out into the field and learn from people practicing outside, just outside the school environment, to just have an idea of how it is, the professional practice of what you're learning when you're done. So you go out for like 6 months. It's cut across every university in Nigeria. So I was opportune to also do that, and I went to Universal Studios of Art when I was in 400 level for 6 months.
So describe Universal Studios of Art.
It's a huge studio in Nigeria. You have prominent Nigerian artists, people with of experience.
The building.
It's a big open studio. You have the likes of Abiodun Olaku. You have Bumi Babatunde, who are the trustees of the studio. You have, we have Fidelis Odogu, prominent sculptor Steve Ekwenise, Joshua Mesire, Ejo Wallace was there as well. And my contemporaries, there right now still, pushing things forward.
But dozens and dozens of artists
working
together. Yeah.
So when I went there 2010, you would think you could draw and things like that, and you get to a place and you realize that you don't know anything. Yeah. So it was just like that, and I was grateful I went there because it changed my idea about art. It made me want to learn more.
Yeah.
It made me unlearn to start learning again. I did like thousands of drawings because we do drawings every day before you even do anything else. You have to, there's a drawing exercise for 3 minutes quick sketch. Do like hundreds of that every day. So it sharpened my skills.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that things were developing in until I went back to school. There was this huge transition from what I was doing before. My scope of understanding has been broadened. It was amazing. I went back and I started hearing good remarks and good feedbacks about my work, and it's a good place to be for anybody aspiring to be.
Because you, more than most artists that I've spoken to, really approach it like a job, right? This is a skill that you were learning, that you were developing. Why don't we walk over to a painting? We'll talk about the way that he taught you how to do color.
Yeah.
Mr. Wallace, Mr. Ajo?
Yes.
So you now work in acrylic. At the time you were working in oil, but if everybody is welcome to come up as close as you want, talk to us about kind of how you approach your palette and how you approach mixing on that canvas.
So prior to my the industrial training back in school, I remember there's the palettes. I'll just sit down. I was mixing colors that eventually, when I start painting, 60% of them I won't use them, because as you start approaching your canvas, it directs you.
Yeah.
Because if you feel rigid, it might be still, right? So it directs on how to go. Some colors you had initially wouldn't work for what you thought about and things like that. So most colors turn, eventually I don't make use of them. So I went to Universal Studios and I saw the way these professionals were mixing their colors. Mr. Wallace Ejo, I learned from him as well. He mixes his colors as he's painting. Like, he just takes his brush, whatever colors he just... So there's this harmony and this, harmony within the colors.
Years.
Yeah, it's just different layers and it builds up his tones. And so I was so amazed. Like, this is so great. And there's limited palettes they also work with there.
Yeah.
They encourage that you use 2 primary colors, 2 secondary colors, primary colors basically, the yellow, the blue, and the red.
Light and the deep.
Yeah, so the light and the deep of each primary colors. So you can expand your color spectrum, like on the palette, right? So you won't be bound to a particular, maybe black or something. You can mix them. So we were able to mix a lot of colors as I was painting, and it was a wonderful experience for me.
Yeah.
Learning that.
So can you give us an example? I brought us to this one because of all of the different depths of warm tones.
Yeah.
And then your sneaky cool tones. Can you talk about the palette here?
So my major palette here were burnt umber and normal primary. In fact, I use my major primary colors for all this. It's just the mixture of tones. So the way I mix my colors is I like to touch around all the colors, so there's harmony. I use acrylic to paint. Normally I was when I was in school I used oil to paint, but after a while I realized that it was affecting me health-wise. It was choking me up, so I switched to acrylic. So the way I do my application, or the way I apply my colors, is when mixing, I try to, if I'm mixing a brown, if I want to get a brown to put somewhere, I want to touch, maybe I can still take some other blues to just have like an outcome that every color merges together. Nobody is too far off from, there's no off tones like that. So with that, an acrylic, as you know, is a very bright color. When you put it, it's just flashy on your face. So I want to tone it down with all the colors on my palette at first, so that I can have, even if it's white, I'll still put a little bit black or burnt umber in it, just to tone down the intensity and of the colors. Yeah. And I like when I paint, like my first approach to painting. Sometimes if I see a black canvas, I get scared. So what I do is I just attack the canvas. I just start dabbing colors, like strokes on the canvas. With that, I build tones. I build the forms that I need to push out from the portrait or the figures that I'm working on. Yeah. Then I leave it for a while. I come back to it when it's dry a little bit, and I start adding tones again. So I enjoy that, and it's more it's more freer for me. Like it's more expressive. Yes, and sometimes I like the expressions I get out of them. The way I plan it, it doesn't work out like that.
Yeah.
It leads me to something totally different from the way I usually imagine my work to look like.
I want to go to the other side of this wall. Everybody follow us. So a lot of what makes Opeyemi's practice so interesting is that combination of like intuition
Yes.
and like excitement,
Yes.
and then you keep going.
Yeah.
Is how you end up with these like rendered, clean, large paintings.
Yeah.
So I asked him to include color studies in this exhibition. All of them are immediately recognizable, but when you zoom in, you see how intuitive they actually are.
Yes.
Right. So can you talk about how you build up these color studies? Oh, and before I'm going to check to see if there's any comments online. Anybody who's watching online can leave comments and we'll hear them.
Okay.
Talk.
Can I keep talking or?
You keep talking.
Okay. So how do I build this? I just express myself on paper. But I think what makes it easier for me, because I keep learning every day, I think is my background in drawing. I have like a very rich background in drawing, and all thanks to Universal Studios of Art for that. Because like I said earlier, I did like thousands of drawings when I was doing my industrial training. So it's very easy for me to manage my space, arrange my forms, and just express myself on the paper. I just stroke colors, like I said, and once I do that, when it's a little bit dry, then I just use colors to shift some edges. Anyone that I feel I like the way the colors is going, I tend to follow that trend. So for the color studies, I'm not too careful. I try to enjoy myself doing it because I want something more intuitive, like and interesting. I'm not predictable. Yeah. So that's how I just go about it.
Yeah.
If I start to explain how I do it, I don't know what to say. Well, sometimes you see some visible lines, just for me to get.
Sure.
Sometimes I don't like exaggeration as well, and sometimes I do. If I see that it's giving me an interesting feel, I just let it go. And sometimes I also want to keep it in a confined, cool composition. So I just use I take like a brush with use black to resketch. Even some of my finished a little bit more detailed paintings, you see some sketches there because I like to resketch, because I just start pouring colors on the canvas, not like I have like a sketch thing on the canvas prior to attacking the canvas originally. So sometimes when I even paint, I readjust, I shift forms. If I notice that the head is, I shift it, so you see some patches of some lines, some sketches, edges I changed and adjusted just to fit in, so that it doesn't go out of proportion.
Yeah.
Because when I was learning there, we are very big on proportion, like normal principles of design, right? Yes, and things like so. You don't mess with that because it's very easy to criticize realism, figurative.
Yeah.
It's open for criticism, like majorly, right? So
you can tell if you got
you
it
can
wrong.
quickly tell, oh, no, this head is too big, this eye is so exaggerated, and things like that. But or like other forms of painting, right? So we tend to be more critical with that, and that's what has built my confidence in still pursuing this even further.
So the series that I think people in Brandon would know you for and what you had been working on before was these large portraits. Let's look at a portrait. But before that, you were working on series in order to really explore light and dark, right? In order to really explore speed and tone. And you became obsessed with faces because of their contour, right? Their topographies.
Yeah.
When you find an interesting face, you just kind of had to. And if everybody can zoom in, you'll see those sketchy lines that he was talking about, right? So this is a great example, but you've switched from doing just your large portraits to this series,
Yes.
which is a very specific series. What's different about it than what we've seen before?
So if I'm trying to get to a question, right? Like,
Okay.
what inspired this body of work, all right? Prior to my just faces. Okay, so even before that, if you could recollect, I usually do more of compositions, like bikers.
Right.
Yes.
I just haven't seen
You have marketings and things
Yeah.
like that. Then someone came and saw one or two portraits I did one time, like in the studio. Like the way I express the face is sort of like emotive, like it's interesting. I could start doing portraitures. So I did that for like the past 5-6 years, and I really enjoy the level at which I was able to go and how deep I was able to go with that. But since I came to Brandon, I was still yearning for some of the things back home. Like I still reach out to some of my friends to take pictures of some people in the studio. Like we have a big studio back home, so we have students who come in just like I was.
You'd be like, I missed their face. Can you
Yeah,
get a
so
picture of their
can I
face?
take a picture? Let me just paint.
Yeah.
No one can take those pictures like you do, right? There's just something you're looking out for you know, seeing this person's face. I'm like, I like this person's face. I want to paint it. There's something you're looking out for. So some of those things were missing when they were fantastic pictures. I painted some that I loved. But I started painting from Diana's photography studio, and she has a very beautiful space of furnitures around. I was there for over a year, but it didn't fuse into me, no. But when I started opening up to my immediate environment, I just wanted to compose things around me and make it of my surroundings as well. Then I invited some people from my church to come model for me with this chair and things. So that was how I evolved from portraiture to having more figurative and
kind of
more
a genre
composition.
painting, kind of this blend of, yeah.
Yes, and blend of environment as well with furnitures and more backgrounds now. Some of you are familiar with my previous body of work. She knows it's just face, it's just telling its own story. But this, I enjoy this new body of work because it's all around me. I open myself up, and I'm so happy I was able to let myself so open to that level and see what I was able to create with even just being opening up like that. I cannot imagine, to be honest.
So that brings us to the real core of the exhibition, which is your experience having immigrated from Nigeria and switching from that environment to this environment. And obviously it's new, but it's also bewildering. It's also frustrating. It also makes you mad and lonely. And this is your special experience of it.
Yes.
But also, it seems to be true for many of the members of your church. I think it's all immigrants, hey?
Yeah.
Your models. And for people all over the country, the province, the city, for sure. So let's talk about those emotions that you were pulling out, those emotions that you were, the stories that you were trying to eke. Yeah.
So we came here 2022. I think I was just very terrible at, researching some things before making some decisions. Well, I didn't have an idea, but Brandon was this code, and was this amazing. It's good, but the code was one of the things. So we came in, and the excitement of changing environment is just there. I was happy coming, and then so came and the reality of things started to play out. Then it looked as if I didn't even plan at all before even making some decisions. It felt, I was thinking, did I make the right choice, even as a creative? And to make it worse, we didn't talk about this. People keep asking when it's my work, what are you doing here? So it was.
People ask me the same thing.
I don't know why they were asking.
Brandon's just
they
a
wanted
little
me to
town,
cry,
yeah.
but because you questioning some of your actions and how you got here, and some people still asking you that same question because of maybe what you have, it felt more depressing. Yes, I felt I was lost at one point. I felt almost out of my creative comfort zone. Like, you know, where you're coming from, I've gotten used to that environment for a while. I felt I was out of something. I felt something left me. I felt lost, just like I said earlier. First 1-2 years, I was struggling. I kept painting, but I wasn't getting those sort of the kind of emotion I usually have. People still feel it, but within me, I felt something was missing.
Yeah.
Like I felt something was missing.
You said you were letting paintings go and you didn't feel good about putting them out in the world.
First, when I first came, I think the first 3 months, I created some body of work for a show in London. And I was not happy about those works. I was just very angry with things and decisions that the first 1 year was tough. I struggled with mild frostbite. That was how I had that piece up there. I remember when I regularly go to the bathtub to soak my legs in the water to make it this sensation to just calm it down a little bit. It was tough. And I didn't have. And the another thing, when it was September, October, and it was getting cold, people still say to my face, "This is just an air conditioner. You've not seen anything yet." And the first time we experienced the winter, it was so scary.
Yeah.
I was not even looking forward to it, but it came.
And it was scary.
And it was scary.
Yeah.
And it really disturbed my mental health, to be honest.
Yeah.
I struggled a lot with that. And the thing with getting acceptance, right, into the space here, into the system, it was very tough navigating. I'm a creative. Mine might be a different story, basically. But some other professionals, like we mentioned during the interview, find it very challenging, right? Mine might even be worse. But they could dabble. Some of them, you see them dabbling into some other career path just to survive. But as a creative with years of experience and the body of work I've created, which I cherished over the years, I don't know. I just didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to cope. I was still lucky that I had a gallery that was representing me to make financial burden easy, but it was tough adjusting to even the system in general.
Yeah.
Felt lonely from the art world.
It's a totally different art world as well.
Yeah, I felt lonely from the art world. This is like, might not be the usual thing Manitoba artists or thing the Manitoba artists or Manitoba art community is used to, right? You might be used to a lot of landscapes and maybe portraitures that are white, but not black like this. So it's a different thing entirely that I experienced. And along the line, I think you came and we talked about something to do. But it was...
Well, you kind of pitched a series that you were already working on, and then you said, but I am thinking that there's something about, like...
Yeah.
You said cold time.
Yeah, I said,
but it was about, like, how weird this is, right?
I think I wanted to talk about refugees as well.
Yeah.
At that
this was
time
the same winter that a family had died of exposure at the border, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just uncomfortable, it's not just scary and alienating, it's dangerous, the cold.
Yes. So the winter basically was the originator of all this before it delved into grief.
Well, and such a good symbol of isolation, right? But then grief makes nothing else matter.
Yeah, I remember I was just, most times I would be like,
over here.
Over the window, looking at the...
Because all these things keep you from relating to your community.
Yeah.
Qualifications, the system, the rhythm of life, and then the cold just keeps you indoors, right? So you just can't be yourself. You get lost inside. Yeah.
And it's a new space, right? You don't even know who to trust. And So it's being away from family
Yeah.
as well. It was tough, right? And but I was able to navigate my way to meet the community as well. Who I've met a lot of nice people as well, but it wasn't an easy thing trying to adjust to the system at this age. If I was a teenager, it might be easier.
Yeah.
Because
And you also moved with a
with a
two-year-old.
kid,
Yeah.
very difficult getting a daycare for her.
The waiting list,
The waiting list, even up until now, we haven't been called. So that was some of the things. And when I was coming, a major shift happened in my career where I was represented by a gallery in Barcelona. That could have been another push to my career as an artist. But coming here with all the forces and things that was happening around, I was it was too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, with everything, my wife needed to go to work too, and I just couldn't paint.
Yeah.
The space, there was no space,
Yeah.
and I was using large pieces. So it's
And
a lot
people,
I felt
large
boxed
space,
in.
but
Yeah,
people all around you.
yeah. I felt so boxed in a lot of way, and it affected my creative ideas and things like that. It wasn't something, but along the line, I found my rhythm. That was, I think, from last year, to just talk about this particular experience that I've experienced over the years here. And I started putting those pieces together. And some of the body of work I wanted to, push out. Initially, I still wanted to talk about something, even in all the struggles and things I said, I still experienced happy moments, right? I went to some places and I had fun as well, even with all this. But then I lost my cousin last year, August. She was involved in a car crash. I lost my younger brother December. So those two people going changed the whole narrative. I started, some of the pieces I went to push out weren't resonating with me anymore. It was more of pieces that were just thinking, things like that, lost in thoughts. Just, that guy seated resonated more with me because I was more in that space for a while. I was more in that space of reflecting, how did this happen? Should death be something people don't come back from? It was just unimaginable, right? So I didn't have peace there where I was going to be happy. Sure. So it changed the whole narrative for me, and
So
I'm
there
very
was.
excited about that.
Let's go look at Olalekan. In the early excited conversations about the show when it was about the winter,
Yeah.
you promised that you were going to do your first ever self-portrait.
Yes.
You said your face has never been interesting to you, so why would you paint it? But I promised, because it was going to be through the eyes of an immigrant.
Yes.
And you wanted to be, these are my eyes.
Yes.
This is what it's like. And that shifted with the death of your brother.
Yes.
And so this is what you produced finally. Can you talk about this piece?
Okay, so this piece is a selfie with Olalekan. Olalekan is my younger brother. Like I said, we lost him last year, December. And that's his son. So I was home last year, August. He came to pick me from the airport. And he wasn't sick. He was fine. Up until October, before I started getting calls that he was sick. So his diagnosis was going back and forth. But on the day of his surgery, he didn't make it to the hospital. He collapsed, and traffic. It was pronounced dead on arrival. This piece is dear to me because it's going to be my personal collection. I couldn't finish it. I just had to sign it. I was just going back and forth on the piece because it was supposed to be, this particular canvas was supposed to be a self-portraiture, because the theme was originally through the eyes of an immigrant. I was supposed to see it through my eyes, because my face doesn't appeal to me artistically, but I wanted to push that out there as part of the show, just to find a piece that's going to resonate. But it didn't happen, and I didn't feel like painting myself anymore with all the things that happened throughout last year. So last year was pretty rough. It wasn't. It's not a year I wish to ever, be in again. So this is him. I wished he was. Is my number one fan. Like, he cheers me up every time. Even before I started making a little bit of money from the art back in Nigeria, he's always the one that usually pushes some of my things, and he's always, and you see he's smiling. He's a happy guy. He's somebody you would want to meet. He keeps friends. He's so open to people, and he's such a lively person. I miss his call. Like, I miss talking to him, and I'm happy I was able to dedicate this show to him. And I don't know. Is there anything else you want me to say?
Well,
Lucy?
in this one, so it's remarkable in the series because it's the only smile,
Yeah,
Right.
but it's a fake smile.
but also he doesn't like selfies.
No, not him. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
No, it's a real smile. Yeah, but to me right now,
There's
it's not a
artifice.
smile.
Yeah.
I think.
But also, you were talking about how when you were outsourcing your photos to people back in Nigeria, it wasn't right because you were painting the photo that they had taken.
Yes.
It's not your vision, and in this case, you've given him power over that composition.
Yes, he took this photo himself.
Yeah.
Like a
So-
selfie. Yeah,
It's a selfie.
I think it's self.
Yeah, and it's so different than all of the others, but it's absolutely your vocabulary.
Yes.
Right.
So like when I came here, I was relying on having, like I said, having people from my studio take images for me,
Yeah.
send it over here because they are used to what I paint, like back home. But when I started opening myself up to my immediate environment, I enjoy the piece that I was able to take pictures.
Yeah. So this is one of the last ones. Hey.
Yes.
That one almost didn't make it.
Yeah.
But he showed me the photo, and I said, I would love to have this, right? So you can see just the variety of compositions and how they evolved as well, this being a later one, right?
Yes.
And I think the blue jacket over there is one of your first.
Yes, that was my first.
Yeah. So how even just your perspective changed. And I think there's a lot about just becoming really honest with these experiences and having the confidence to say that that they're worthy of this method of storytelling, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to put Shalom on the spot as well. One of our models is here. Can you guys have a conversation about the experience since we have you here?
Yeah, we do.
Thank you. I didn't ask you before. Hold
No
this.
problem. No problem. Just a second.
So this piece is called "The Weight They Cannot See."
Yeah.
The first, "The Weight They Cannot See."
Yes.
So you posed. This is one of your first attempts at really getting to that furnishing floor and space, your environment, not Nigeria, but also.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Okay, so this particular piece, some of those previous ones that I used chairs, I still up to exploring even the floors and things like that. And I came across Lucian Freud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, get it.
Yeah.
And I came across Lucian Freud, and I saw some of his pieces. It was inspiring, right? And I saw this guy. We met at the show. What show was that?
I'd forgotten, but it was last year actually.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm just going to take a second to talk about you because we had met at that show, but seen your work 2 years earlier. I ran a small Instagram page and I thought, oh, his work was fantastic, and I wanted to put his work up there. And at that time, I simply did not know that we lived so close or that we were destined to meet at some point. And the day we did, it felt special. And yeah, we met that day actually in this same building. And we've had like a pretty good relationship since then. Yeah, you were going to make a point.
He's a fantastic guy. So I invited him over to my studio, and he was so eager to come. And since then, he's a huge brother. How would I put it? Like, he's someone that wants to push me out there. He comes whenever, like, he just calls me. He wants to come. He takes pictures. Like, he invests his time even in my. Like, I'm so honored to even have him. And I said, come, you have to model for me. I like the physique, and I wanted to have somebody to that should come. And he came. We took some pictures. We took those pictures. We're talking about, like, I think you have to come on that day. I wasn't, like, interested in images, and I went back home. I started, checking through, and I said, oh, this is it. He didn't know that I started painting the pictures, because he was still waiting for me to call him for another time to do some shoots, because the images, I didn't really resonate with them at the time I was taking the pictures. But I was glad I was able to pull this picture on this canvas, and I was happy I was able to do this as well, because originally I wasn't holding that. I just had to add that when I was. So the title of this piece is the weight they cannot see. So those weights are some of the things I was like bottling up within, so people don't see it, even when you just appear.
Right.
Nobody knows what you're going through, right? Until you speak about it. So that's what the title of this piece is all about.
Right. And one of the interesting things had been the fact that when we had met and we had shared our stories, it felt very identical. Our immigrant story, really. I remember when you had shared the story about the frostbite and you having to dip your legs into the tub and warm it. I'd shared a similar story of mine where I had a similar experience, and with other people that I've spoken to that we did speak with, it seems to be the contrast seems to be such a recurring theme, and it's just one. It leads to other feelings I think that we have bottled in a weight that we carry, having to juggle. Or having to, get used to a new environment. Really, was one of the title really spoke to me about, and I really enjoyed coming to your studio. I felt like it was I felt like you were such a special artist, and every time I had the opportunity to come in. You always had a ton of ideas, a ton of things, and you were, energetic about it, which I really appreciate. And that's just aside the talent and the serious time that you've put in your craft, which I absolutely appreciate. So it's been such a lovely experience for me, getting to see your work. I feel so honored that you also have the opportunity to tell your story, to tell your story, to see, to explain what you do see in all of us, and also be a vessel to, help you tell your story, both ways. And I think that has been wonderful. That's just what I needed to add.
Thank you so much. And the other thing about this is, when I start some of these pieces, they lead me to another. Like, I might have had an idea of what I want to paint, but once I start this, like, wow, I need to like this. I think I can do something again in this regard or this. Then that was how some of these body of work started to come out together. It's some of the things I had initially didn't resonate with me anymore until I started pushing these things out, and they started coming to light. And I'm so thankful to have you on board. Yeah, I'm so thankful.
My pleasure.
I brought my thanks for that.
You're welcome.
And thank you for the beautiful videography. Sure, show people. Okay. So this is the Lucian Freud. Okay, the Lucian Freud that Opeyemi was referring to when I talked about this painting being about the floor.
Yeah.
This is what really struck you.
Yes. So this is The Sleeping Man by Lucian Freud.
87, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So that piece over there, which is exhausted, right?
Exhausted.
Yeah.
Three
was inspired by this. it was through the hard times when I was struggling with grief, right? And this piece, I came across this piece. I'm like, wow, I need to document this as well. I need to compose something like this. So I invited somebody from the studio, from my church, to come and model for me, because I have almost the exact same floor in the studio. Like, why? Come on, I could bring this, and I love the outcome I was able to create with the piece. So this is, I got inspiration from this particular Lucien Freud piece.
Yeah. And there's some things that he has access to, like hours and hours and hours of live model.
Yeah.
Which will change, and also oil paint instead of acrylic. We talked about that. But I think that you can really see, there's just such, we talked about how maybe you had never come across Lucien Freud because it wouldn't have made the impact if you hadn't been unsettled, right?
Yeah, yes.
You wouldn't have been able to see how this depressing, joyless work, a lot of his work is like this, right, is actually just filled with power and a reason for existing, right? So it doesn't have to be joy exactly, but material, right?
Thank you, Lucy, for talking about that. Like, if originally I was seeing some of these pieces like 3-4 years ago, it might not move me an inch, right? But it came at a time where I was, going through some stops, and it resonated with me like perfectly. And I started checking out all his pieces. I might have seen his piece like 3 or 4 years ago, but I might not pay attention to it because it's not in my environment, right? My studio back in Lagos doesn't look like this in any way. It doesn't have the floor, doesn't have chairs. Like, I don't have this sort of beautiful chairs like this. Mm-hmm. So I don't have something like that he uses in some of his poses, right? Yeah. And his models. And he paints like months to even finish a piece.
Yeah.
I don't do that. So, but right now I'm in a space that also has some of the components he uses in his body of work. So I felt, wow, this came at the right time. Like, he came, and he's such a fantastic artist. Like, he's one of the most recognized artists, like in the early
he broke a
late
record
20th centuries.
For his big lady.
Yeah, such an amazing artist.
Yeah.
And I felt this should be like a huge inspiration for me.
Yeah.
Because I want to be an ardent lover of details in my practice. I want to be better day by day. And I should be looking up to people like this to push my practice forward. And his pieces, I had to download tons of it just to soak myself in and also produce what I can push out from there.
Yeah.
Initially, there was a piece of ease I wanted to do. I wanted to create as well, to create this. Shalom was there when we were taking this particular picture for this.
Yeah.
And the model she was just being expressive, and the whole idea changed to be an original what I actually wanted. Then I had this, and this just came to life. And I took the picture like, no, this is it. Initially, I wanted to have somebody seated like this, just have like a recreation of something that he did. But this came into light, and it came as an original for me. I'm so glad that his body of work was like a background for me to lay on, to create some of these amazing pieces I was able to have.
See it through that filter.
Yes.
Yeah, seen it through. Yeah, because I mean, he's I think he was working in Britain in the 80s.
Yeah.
But he was originally
German.
Look it up. German.
Yeah.
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 like Freud. But when we were having our long conversation, we kept talking about your colors.
Yes.
Because you have a very specific palette, and you were talking about how it's not necessarily a happy palette. You think of yourself as a happy person. And then several times I said your palette, and you went, no, the color of my skin, right? That now that you're here, the color of the skin of the models that you have is something worth noting as opposed to something not. So that's why I love the reference to this piece where you can see the palette is so similar. When you see Lucien Freud's in person, instead of this kind of volcanic orange underpainting that Opeyemi has all over, his is often kind of this putrid green blue, right?
Yes, yes.
Because in fair skin you can kind of see veins coming up from underneath, and it's this very different and yet almost identical approach to what you had already been doing, right?
Yeah.
Just because of the palette and the pallor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I also liked about him, because as I saw his pieces, I just jumped at it because his palette was almost. Let me say,
It's
my
so
palette was almost similar as his because he's
Yeah.
he's a
No, he's
prominent.
copying you.
He's a prominent. He's not copying me. He's a prominent artist, like
Yeah.
global artist. So I saw that. Wow, he's not someone I knew before, but seeing his palette and like this is somebody I feel I could also learn more from, right?
Yeah.
So I started researching on him and things like that. And I like the fact that, but I'm still open. So people ask me this: is it just black people you paint? I said, well, I'm from Nigeria, right? And there's nothing like black or white. It was when I came here I started learning the word black,
Yeah.
you know, and I started getting exposed to the word BIPOC and
BIPOC.
things like that.
Yeah.
So here, there, we don't know. There's no. Everybody's. We are we, right?
Yeah.
So I'm also open to even go beyond as long as this is my immediate environment. If it's Lucy's face that is appealing to me, I'll paint you. You know.
You got to put some white on your palette. The other thing about Lucian Freud is you were talking before about how when you're a figurative painter, you have to be quite perfect in your drawing.
Yes.
Lucian Freud has gotten to the level where he doesn't have to be, where things can be a little bit off, like a little mannerist, right, for the sake of getting those emotions across.
Yes.
We were looking at a painting called Rose, if anybody wants to look it up, which is of his daughter
Yes.
at like age 40 or something, and
Yes.
it's just wrong. Like it doesn't look like it's possible, and yet it's intense, right? It's meaningful. It's yeah. So that's something that you were saying. You want to be able to be imperfect.
Yes. So right now, I think I'm still a little bit like strict. I'm still confined to some rules, right? And I like Lucian Freud. If it's some of his paintings as well, you notice some exaggerations, which is just the beauty of the piece, right?
Yeah.
You see some places that some
The elbows are often
might just be wrong, but so beautiful. And sometimes art, it doesn't have to be perfect
Yeah.
to be art, right? It has to just have the right emotions to pass across, just like Picasso. Until I went to Barcelona, I saw that this guy had different, like,
Right. Not
periods
just
in his life
not
where he was
just
just
eyes,
creating,
yeah.
not just the eyes and things like that. So
angles, yeah.
Lucian was great with the exaggerations, and I hope someday I get to that level where I can just, and Salam was like, okay, this hand is not correct, like it's perfect with that.
Yeah. You get to the level that everybody knows it was on purpose. It wasn't
Yes.
a mistake, right? So there's an extreme. A lot of people go straight to this first one that we put up. You can tell we didn't hang these to tell the story chronologically. We hung these because they look right, so that they would face each other or not face each other and everything. But this here, right, the most exaggerated foreshortening that you have, I think, is very much what we're talking about. Still has to be, however, perfect. And you've even done some of this kind of photorealist
Yes.
blurring, which reminds me a lot of, if anybody wants to Google it, the Jared Richter Betty.
Yeah.
As does this one in the back. So that's more on the photorealist side than that expressionist side. We haven't asked anybody if there are questions yet.
Oh.
Last time I checked the comments, there were none online, but I'll check that again soon. Yeah, Doug.
So you've got your color studies.
Yes.
And you've got the one of Shalom over there, and then you've got the big painting. So do you do the color study first? Do you take photos and then work from photos, or was he in the studio as you were painting it? So what's the process?
Okay, so for color studies, sometimes I do it first, but for this ones, I think I did it
Because I asked for them.
last.
Okay.
Because the creator asked for it.
So are these people posing and you're painting live, or you work from photos?
So I take pictures of them. I just ask them to come, they pose, and I take pictures because nobody wants to stay for me for
Not
a
for
month.
$50, they don't. But you also change a lot of things, like the cigarette, like
Yes,
the
yeah,
blue
so I-
jacket, you change the chair.
Like this, I changed like a lot of things. I changed the chairs. I changed the original photo didn't have this chair. I changed the floor to the sort of floor that I want. I changed the background, everything about this. Just the figure that is just. So I changed everything just to suit what I actually want to push out there. for this particular project.
So in some ways, it hinges on the photograph. So are you, when you're taking photographs, do you have this in mind? Are you trying to capture who they are? Because when I look at your work, like I've never met these people other than Shalom, but I look at it and I think I know them because of how you've captured them. So is this part of your photographic process? Is this something that sort of comes through as you paint?
Like, I didn't get the question.
Do you get to know them?
Yeah.
Yes, I need to know them, just like I knew Shalom. That person, she sings in church with me. This person, I've thought this person before. Yes. That person, he is my church as well. Takes pictures in church. That's that person within the cup. That's my wife. So I know her. The person over there is also from my church. Likewise, this person. So I need to know these people, have a conversation with them. Yes, before I don't just. If I approach you, like if I just see you and I approach you, okay, can I paint you? Sometimes that happens, but not often.
So I'll also say, we were talking about the series that you worked on in the past when you started doing faces. You did turbaned people.
Yeah.
And you did soldiers.
Yes.
And they were interesting because they were interesting, right? They had scars, they had like hollow cheeks and like experience, let's call it, right?
Yes.
For better or for worse. And I feel like that's the training that you had to go through to get that kind of subtle, like we kind of love them all. Like because you were looking at those faces, at those extreme faces for so long, but now a sweet little face like that has so much, right?
Yeah. So I've done faces like for a couple of years, and I was glad I passed through that sort of tough training to get this sort of level of emotion out. So I think as I keep doing these things, it keeps getting better. Like, and I'm happy with what I was able to bring out with this. Some of them are soft, unlike the hard. Initially, I wanted to do soldiers before. I wanted to do a solo on soldiers because I've done that before. And the rigid, the sadness on the faces, especially African soldiers, what with things they pass through, going for senseless wars, and nothing tangible to show for it. They're not.
You said
they're
in
not
Nigeria,
recognized.
they're mostly doing domestic, like they're soldiering against like gangs and rebel groups, and
Yeah,
like,
it's
not
like
warfare,
that, and
yeah.
some of them just die like that, and so the governments don't take care of their immediate families and things like that. So I wanted to do that even back home. I wanted to do a solo exhibition on that. I interviewed some soldiers as well for that particular project, just to push that out, where they don't have to die for nothing, right? They're protecting the citizens, right? But their families should be taken care of, and they should also be taken care of while they're alive, but not being underpaid or not being used as dogs, just this is a stupid mission, and you just put them out there to just go die for nothing, and the politics around it. I wanted to talk about that as my first solo exhibition before I started experiencing, before I migrated initially. I trained myself to do level of research and to go very deep with that. So those process, I did a lot of soldiers as well that I sold prior to this. They had built my understanding of human topography, the way to express emotions as I'm applying my colors. I think maybe the colors in general as well. And I don't know, maybe it's something subconscious on how I feel these things, and I'm not just pushing them out. I don't know, but it's just, yeah. And I hope someday I'm going to talk about that as well, because it's still something that doesn't make sense to me, even up until today.
Okay.
Yeah, the soldiers, like back home. Yeah. I've had friends that were soldiers that have been killed. Yeah.
Okay.
So
My
this
name
is
is
Charles Every.
Hello, Charles.
Avery. I came to witness this very powerful moment. First, let me lay the background. I'm part of this guy's story. We flew on the same flight. Landed Canada at the same time. Picked up from Winnipeg to Brandon at the same time. And I have been following all what is happening. I want to thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Different ways to speak. By body gestures, by word, by action. But you are speaking a global language that does not need interpretation. Here you are on the world stage. You are standing on the world stage, and there's no doubt about it.
Thank you.
I just have a few questions. What really keeps you going? That's question number one. And what would you want to say to the young artists coming up? And lastly, the world is such a chaotic situation. This language, what are you going to say? Let the world hear you in what is going on in Iraq. Let the world hear you. Let's get your perspective in these speaking pictures. So that's just the questions I have for you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ebri. He's a fantastic person. He did a write-up on this show for me as well. I don't know if some of you have seen it. I shared it with the creator as well. So the first question was passion, right?
Yes.
What keeps
you going?
So it's basically passion for the practice, because when I feel I have it, so it will be very unwise of me to let it die, even with moving here and the challenges navigating my way around here. I feel like I just stay within my zone and not do too much, and not put myself in a lot of troubles just to practice. I can do anything to make sure I keep painting. If it's to do what I'm not supposed to, just to do menial jobs to just make sure I have enough time to paint. And it's just for the love of the profession. I'm happy I'm doing it, and nothing can stop me from creating. If I don't create, I feel very uneasy. I feel disturbed. Just like when I was saying, like prior to this moment now, I'll feel lost if I don't see colors to just put on camera. It's just because of what I've been used to over the years. And I've also been recognized in a way, and people believe in the practice. People believe in me. I wouldn't want to let people down and also let myself down. So that's what keeps me going as an artist. And thank you for that question.
For the rest of the young upcoming artists like you.
So for upcoming artists like me, it's just to be an added level of details on your practice. Make sure you take it as your life. If it's what you believe in, it's going to happen. But if you are doubting it, it won't happen. So it's what I believe in. So, and I'll keep pushing it until, and it doesn't stop basically, because everything, it keeps getting better, right? If you think this is the end, no, it might just be the beginning of the end. So there's always a beginning of the end in every way. So every young artist that is hearing me, just keep pushing and never stop. If it's what you believe in, keep doing it, and keep practicing. If it's not even painting, if it's music or anything, but if it's art, keep pushing the career, keep drawing, keep painting. Don't be lazy on it. Invest your time in it, and things will unfold. I think that's just the thing. There's this thing about consistency, right? Sometimes it doesn't show like immediately, but if you have a book, maybe a journal, and you keep drawing from the beginning, if you keep drawing, when you get to like page 100, even before that, if you keep flipping through, the first might look stupid, second, stupider, your third, sorry for that English, but as you keep opening, you will see progression, right? Just keep fueling that energy and that drive to become better every day. It's not something you leave. Yeah.
So let me tweak the last one. I repeat, here you are on the world stage.
Yes, sir.
We are here, world stage. What's the next step?
I'm excited about this. and I'm excited. I'm showing it even in the city I live in, and I'm thankful for everybody coming here today. I've been thinking about a solo show. I've never thought about it to even be like this, even being supported by the province I live in and the country I live in, because this was usually funded by Manitoba Arts Council and Canada Arts Council. They made this happen just like as I invested, and thank you to Lucy. I'm so grateful. I'm hoping this will be the beginning of better things ahead in my profession as an artist. And I'm hoping this will inspire every other professionals out there, even in their practice or...
And collectors.
And collectors.
You need collectors here.
And collectors.
Yeah.
In every spheres of practice in life, everything you find yourself doing, you do it well. And I'm hoping this will push beyond boundaries. And I'm hoping this will bring maybe peace in everywhere there's a war zone. Or I feel so sad that humans are very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
In terms of when you have the power. Power, you misuse it.
Yeah.
Right? You want to show that you are more better than this person.
Yeah.
People don't know the dangers behind powers until you have it, right? And when you have it, when it's with, and you see what's happening, you see people spent millions of dollars to build missiles, rockets, nuclear bombs, and they just go down the drain like that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, right?
Well, those of you who read the paper today, they've determined that the attack at Milan High School that occurred was a hate crime against the newcomer Nigerian community, and the fact that that got announced today, that it was targeted because of this identity. You know, I think that when you're talking about creating peace, that's the work that this is doing, especially in the context that we're living in today on June 20th, 2025.
A lot is happening today, as in like a lot.
Yeah.
5 years ago wasn't like this, but the world is and it's affecting everything, right?
Yeah.
It's affecting everything globally, and I'm hoping that there will be a resolution, there will be peace, cut across board, and even
because it's caused by despair.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And even my community as well here, I hope that there will be more acceptance. I hope this will bring more acceptance for people like me here in this province or in this country in general. And I hope this will be the beginning of greater things for everybody in general, not even people from my community as well, even in general, immigrants as well.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. We come in, I like that question that you asked, like global stage. So immigrants come in, a lot of experience in their professions, like back home.
Yeah.
I'm just picking things across, vast experiences, decades of experience.
Yeah.
And you're here, and it feels like nothing. It feels like absolutely nothing. People try to get on track. Most people don't even get up again. Some people try to find their rhythm, some people get it, but most people don't. How do we balance that? So I'm happy I was able to put this out, because people find themselves in these states of mind. Most people experience this depression, but they don't talk about it. You don't see it even written on their face. Most people experience loneliness. Most people experience discrimination, even at place of work.
Yeah.
Their profession, whatever they do, even going on the street, even how we talk. Like you mentioned water.
Yeah.
You talk to people speaking the same English,
Yeah.
and they don't understand you. It's weird, you know. Like, what did you say again? Is it for joke or something? So eventually we want to sound like you're sounding, and we sound stupid eventually. right? Water, we know water is Nigeria is water. Which one is water? So I'm hoping this will bring like acceptance for us all here, and even in every way, please. And I'm using this avenue to beg.
Yeah.
To beg.
Yeah.
Mr. Ebri, I hope I answer your question to an extent.
Very well, I'm impressed because it takes courage to be real. That's what I'm saying. It takes courage to stand out even in places where you're pushed back. What you are doing is resilience. That shows in the scripture that a light put on top of the hill will shine. So that's why I say now you're speaking on the top of the blue. There's no doubt about it. And I'm happy that you're doing it. And you're speaking fearlessly from your blood. That we are happy, we are proud of you.
Thank you so much.
I'll be proud of you, and I'm happy for you.
I'm happy for being here.
What's going on?
Yeah.
You discovered a strong hand. And this is an asset. Look at 100 years away from here. Present here.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And I say it's courageous, it's brave, but it's also so because especially think about share it because it's the only relationship that you have left, right, with that person who's gone. And the fact that you share that lets people, it gives people permission to share theirs as well. This isolation, the difficulty, the fact that a lot of people have done it, that's really that special for every individual person. Generosity there. That I think is really important.
Like you've been talking about an artist, and I was amazed. You were extolling the work of an artist. There is that says you work under an anointing on which you act. You have put yourself already in the books of history by articulating with that man. So I feel like clapping for you. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. You guys don't understand. Well, we met in the plane. I had four children. He had some children with his wife. Was your wife still pregnant?
No, she wasn't at that time. She
had one. So the only black, we kept talking, and then we landed. It was cold.
It was June.
It was July. God is also here. Just to be part of the joy. Thank you so much, Mr. Ebri.
To see that.
Thank you.
Speak about world events. Hear you.
Thank you.
I think that's a great. Are there any press questions? I didn't bring my. Yep. All right. So I'm going to thank you so much.
Thank you, Lucy, for me again.
Anytime. Honestly, though, we are looking hard for funding to put together a catalog to tell all of these very important stories, which a published book, which will come at some point. We'll find the right relationship to make that happen. Yes, thanks all for coming. It's going to be on YouTube. You can share this talk, and it's going to be on WCG TV for those of you who subscribe. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching online. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
You are also so creative. I've been looking at how come you put this speaker here?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was good.
Do you want me to share a folder of painting, photos of the paintings?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Let me take a picture.
Yes.
And you too.
And my little fuzzies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody needs that many cameras on a phone. Look at that.
I
Six
won't call you.
cameras.
See, I won't call you. Say, I will call you. Say, Baba, no see yesterday.
Yes, you can.